Hello everyone, and welcome to the second part of our tutorial series for Minecraft speedrunning. In the first video, we covered all of the core 5 sea types in Ranked, which were villages, desert temples, rune portals, shipwrecks, and buried treasures. We covered portal creations, as well as additional tips and tricks to help you. It pleases me to finally have this second part out, which makes this my second tutorial I've made, so I truly hope you enjoy this video and learn something great. And as always, if you like content like this, then I would really appreciate that click. Just a very quick disclaimer, in this tutorial video, I will assume you watched the entirety of the first tutorial episode and have all prerequisite knowledge of overworlds. As a brief refresher, we already know that before we enter the Nether, we should currently have an iron pick, a bucket filled with an additional scoop of lava from where you created your portal from, a flint and steel, as well as hopefully food and wood. Before entering the Nether, also quickly make sure your render distance is 16 to 20 chunks, your entity distance is 500%, as well as your entity culling is off. There is also one final setting you should make sure is on, and that's a setting within Sodium known as planar fog. Make sure this is on as well. Once everything seems good, just walk in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Nether. Right off the bat, should go without saying that the Nether is a very dangerous place, and most speedruns that fail usually end as a result of the runner dying at some point inside of the Nether. Here you find many hostile mobs, like Hoglins, Piglins, ghasts, even skeletons, and the terrain is often flowing with lava at every corner. Nonetheless, in this video you will learn how to traverse this dimension and make your way through the speedrun. In the Nether, there are two main objectives for the player. The first is to locate and fully loot a Bastion. It is here that you will obtain the essential items you need to complete the Minecraft speedrun, namely ender pearls, obsidian, and string. The second is to then make your way to a Nether fortress and obtain 6 to 7 blaze rods there. Seems simple at first, but there's a lot to unpack here. Get ready, because it's time to look at some numbers. The moment you enter the Nether, you're probably wondering what direction you should run towards to find a Bastion. But luckily for us, there is a surefire method for finding Bastions that works every time. Immediately after entering the Nether, open up your F3 menu and I'll introduce you to 3 different numbers that you should familiarize yourself with. The first number we're looking at is this E number at the top left, which has 2 components to it. The right E number, or the denominator, represents the total amount of mobs in the world that are within your render distance. So for example, if my render distance is set to 16, then all mobs that are within a 16 chunk radius of me in all directions gets represented by this right E number. The left E number, which is the numerator, is represented by the total amount of mobs that make up the right E number that are currently within your FOV. In simpler terms, this right E number is the total amount of mobs loaded in your render distance, and the left E number is just a portion of those total mobs that you currently have in your FOV that you are currently looking at. If you were to make your FOV very small and look at how that number changes, you will see that it constantly fluctuates as you move your camera around. That's the first number, so keep note of it. The second and third numbers we will be looking at are these 2 numbers known as M and C. The number M describes the amount of what I would call normal mobs that are loaded within your render distance. These are all Hoglins, zombie piglins, ghasts, skeletons, even blazes and withers that are included in this M number. The C number represents critters, which end up being the Nether striders that you see lurking about. The M and C numbers, when added together, should always equate to the right E number, which shows the simple math of how all mobs are tallied together in the Nether. However, sometimes this is not the case. Look at this example here. When I load into this Nether, my M and C values add up to about 80, but this right E number is actually greater by around 30 extra mobs. This is an interesting case that sometimes occurs in the Nether, but there can only ever be one explanation for these extra 30 mobs that seem to be showing up in your right E number, and that is the piglins that spawn inside of a bastion. Bastions are interesting structures that rarely spawn in the Nether, and when they spawn, the piglins that spawn inside it are classified as unique mobs that both will never respawn nor despawn, as they are essentially the piglins that are this bastion's population. And these bastion piglins are not counted in the M number that we saw earlier. Randomly normally spawning piglins are in this M number, but not the bastion's population piglins. Which means if you ever load into the Nether and look at these two numbers and see that the right E number is greater by about 30 when you add the two together, this means there is a bastion within your render distance. This is how you verify a bastion is in your Nether. And if you don't see this type of number discrepancy right away, then there is not a bastion in your render distance, and you should reset the seed. To pinpoint exactly where this bastion is in your Nether, simply go into your settings and lower your FOV to its lowest point. Pay attention now to the lower E number, as you will now play a little game of hide and seek to find the bastion piglins that are inflating your right E number. Since the bastion is just one structure, all 30-ish of those bastion piglins should really be in one single location, meaning the moment you pan your screen around and see that left E number spike by a large amount suddenly, you are looking at the bastion through the wall. This technique is known as E-raying, and you just quickly change your FOV down and quickly look around to find and pinpoint the spike of the bastion. Once you see the value spike up, immediately change your FOV back and start making your way in that direction. What's up everybody, Live Mikey is back for a different example of E-raying on a totally different Nether seed. So I just loaded into this Nether. Let's raise our render up to 16 entity distance, and let's take a look at our numbers here. As we can see, M and C are both 70 and 34, adding up to about 104, but our right E number is literally 139. That's a discrepancy of about 30, so we're gonna have to take a look and pay attention to the left E number. Ooh, look at that. See how it spikes so sharply in this particular direction? That is a massive giveaway that a bastion is there. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of navigation across this Nether. Right under there is the bastion. Right there, that direction. Now, when a Nether fortress spawns in your world, it's possible that the sheer amount of blazes and withers that spawn inside of that fortress can create sort of a similar type of large spike, but what matters is the distinct nature of how sharply the bastion spikes for your E number. So it's important to learn to distinguish between the two. What's up everybody? So I just loaded into an additional different Nether, different from the previous ones, and I want to show you a bit of an interesting example. As you can see here, my M and C values add up to around 130, but over there on my right E number, it's about 190. It's 189, 190. This is actually a difference of much more than just 30 or 40 mobs. This is a difference of about around 70 mobs. This is actually an interesting case that can sometimes happen in the Nether, and you guessed it, every additional 30 to 40 mobs making a distinct increase to about, from 30 to 60 to 90, around there. Each chunk of 30 mobs does mean that there is an additional bastion that spawned in your Nether. In this case, you can see that we have a difference of around 60. Looking at it again, it's like 130 to 190. This is a difference of about 60 when we add M and C together, meaning that there is very likely two bastions. As you can see, I have one bastion spike here when I look this way, and if I look a totally different way, boom, there's actually another spike happening there. Before we get to the bastion, I want to say that traversing the Nether can be tough, but there are a few quick tips I can offer. If you have additional blocks in your inventory, this is where you will be needing them, as these blocks will help you build over terrain, block off lava, and help you build up to reach different parts of the Nether. This is why shears are amazing when you can get them, as well as where the Desert Temple seed truly shines, is through the sheer amount of blocks that you have. Boats are also very helpful in the Nether, as boats have an interesting mechanic where if you're in one, you can negate fall damage, allowing you to cheese certain parts of the Nether and make it over vast lava lakes and also very big falls without damaging yourself. If possible, you should make a boat in the overworld, even if you're playing a village, desert temple, or rune portal seed, as boats have incredible usage later in the run, as well as being a pivotal component of eye calculation, which we will talk about in the next episode of this tutorial series. Another great way to navigate the Nether is to look back at the program Jingle that I mentioned in the previous video. We recall that this was used to perform thin BT to find buried treasures with ease, but Jingle also has a wide screen macro, which makes your screen very wide and abuses what is known as planar fog, which I told you to set on earlier. If you play Minecraft on wider FOVs, you can see that on the edges of your screen, the fog actually reveals itself further away, on the far left and right of where you're looking. This mechanic is known as planar fog. Jingle's widescreen macro exacerbates this mechanic, allowing you to see much further into the Nether whenever you'd like. For now, travel through the Nether and make your way to the Bastion. Here is where the most important part of the Minecraft speedrun is played, and where you will likely be spending most of your time practicing. Welcome to Bastion routing. Bastions are complex structures with sprawling hallways, staircases, and chests scattered around. Every bastion also has their own type of area where gold blocks are stored, which is what we primarily need. But before we start talking about bastions themselves, we need to understand the core mechanics of one particular mob, which is the Piglin. Now, Piglins can spawn as one of two different variants, one with a crossbow and one with a sword, which I will refer to as ranged and melees. Piglins are aggressive mobs by nature, and understanding what causes their aggression is the key to properly perform a bastion route. To begin, the moment Piglins see the player, they will attack without hesitation unless you're wearing at least one piece of gold armor. This is why having a piece of gold armor before entering a bastion can typically help the player a lot. Regardless of whether or not you have gold armor, Piglins will also aggro the player the moment you break either a gilded black stone, nether gold ore, a chest, or a gold block within a radius around the Piglin. So if you, for example, broke a chest, all Piglins in a wide radius will be flagged to chase and kill you. This effect also happens if you attack a Piglin. You aggro it and all the other Piglins around in the same type of radius. If Piglins are around to see you opening a chest, this will also aggro them, even if you're slightly out of their line of sight for a second. So, to safely loot chests, you'll have to break line of sight with Piglins for about 2 seconds before you do so. If a Piglin is ever after you, you can distract them by throwing a gold item onto the floor. This will break their aggro and force their AI to pick up the item. But remember, this only works for one Piglin at a time, and once one of them picks the item up, the rest of them will chase you down anyways. Here's the list of items that Piglins want to pick up, but save your gold ingots if you can. This also does not work on the Piglin that you punched, meaning if you punch a Piglin, you have to know that that single one will not be distracted by a gold item and will keep chasing you, so you will need to wait out that aggression or eventually kill them somehow if they are an issue. Lava buckets can help with this, but don't let it spill too much. Ranged Piglins kind of walk towards you and they will load their crossbow, giving you a moment to react to their shot. Although for melees, they are ruthless, and they sprint at the player pretty fast and do an incredible amount of damage per hit if you're not wearing any armor. Melee Piglins are scary, and you need to be quick when you aggro them, or else you'll quickly be overwhelmed. I mentioned that you can drop gold items to distract Piglins, but something unique happens when you throw a gold ingot on the floor, or right-click them with one. This causes a Piglin barter, or trade, to happen. Piglin trades have many different outcomes, and it just so turns out that many of these items that Piglins trade you are essential for the speedrun, For 1 gold ingot, you can obtain any of these items, each with their own percentage chance. So what we need from the Bastion as a whole is at least 12 ender pearls, which come as a stack of 4 to 8 each time it's traded. So we can really ask for more, at least 16 of them to help us travel in the run. We need 20 obsidian, which only drops 1 at a time from trades, and at least 60 string, which comes in decent chunks each time. We also preferably want fire resistance potions, around 2 or 3 of them, which make us immune to fighting blazes later on in the fortress, since they mainly deal fire damage. In order to properly and efficiently trade with piglins to get these items, we will now talk about bastion routing. I said before that bastions have areas within them that contain gold blocks, and the idea is to trade most, if not all, gold blocks in the bastion in an area where you attracted piglins to follow you with their aggro. In other words, if you can aggro as many piglins as you can in a safe way, bring them all into one single location using a small hole in the ground or some type of trap, and you toss all of the gold ingots made from the gold blocks into that hole, that is how you efficiently trade gold. Every single bastion route follows this principal method. Aggro piglins, abuse their aggro AI to make them follow you to where you want to trade gold, safely create a hole for them to fall into when you throw gold in, and boom, you have a piglin trading hole. Successfully setting up this trading hole is the foundation of every bastion route. The only outlying problem with bastion routes is that the trading hole itself usually isn't enough. If you look at the rates for trading different items, you will see that pearls and obsidian both have the same percentage chance to be traded from 1 gold ingot, although pearls come in stacks of 4 to 8, whereas obsidian comes in 1 at a time, and we need 20 obsidian. So it's kinda rare to get it from trades on their own. If we look at the loot tables for chests that spawn in bastions, you will see that the rate of obsidian is quite high, meaning that for bastion routes, you will typically get pearls and string and fire resistance from trades, and you will get the bulk of your obsidian from chests along the way. Chests can also give you gold armor, extra gold ingots, and gold blocks, giving you immunity to further piglins after you finish your first wave of aggroing them. This is, in a sense, the simplified version of a bastion route. From the top, you aggro piglins, make them chase you to where you want to set up your trading hole, set it up, toss your gold inside, and let the piglins spill in. And after they are all trading in the hole, here's where you start searching for chests. After you find most of your obsidian from the chest, run back to your trading hole and check all of your items. If everything checks out and you have your materials, then boom, you're done the bastion. It's just as simple as that. In RSG runs, this is where you can really get screwed over by RNG, as sometimes you will not get obsidian or your pearl and string trades. In ranked, however, bastions always give you what you want, as piglin trades and obsidian are standardized for both players. I know that was a mouthful, but at least you sort of understand the elements of a bastion route now, as well as the AI of piglins. And all that's left is to learn the bastions themselves and their unique differences. Bastions in Minecraft can spawn as one of 4 different main types, and they are treasure, housing, bridge, and stables. All 4 bastions have different distinct locations for their chests, as well as specific unique locations where you will find the gold blocks that you want to trade with the piglins. In the description of this video, I will also provide a link for a practice map that lets you pick and choose any of the 4 bastion types to practice along with me. I recommend you boot up that world and follow my lead. For each bastion, I will describe its entire structure and layout to you and give you live examples of me routing them. Let's finally talk about the bastions in Minecraft speedrunning. Whenever you find a bastion in your nether, the first thing you ever need to do is identify what kind of bastion it is, which is why the first bastion we're looking at is treasure, the easiest one to identify. Treasure essentially spawns as one gigantic cube of black stone bricks, with a lava basin connecting it to its 2 towers on the side. In the lower portion of treasure, inside the giant cube, you have a sprawling society of piglins with seemingly random chests scattered about, with a large chunk of gold at the bottom, as well as a magma cube spawner. You'd think that this is where you want to trade in this bastion, since there is a lot of gold here, but this lower treasure method doesn't pull in that many piglins, and it is also very dangerous, which is why we actually want to start the bastion route here in the lava basin, and to get up to this bridge and route to the 2 towers above, which contains the gold that you will be trading, as well as the chests for your obsidian. The general idea for the treasure bastion route is to begin by breaking these 2 gold blocks on the bridge, which will begin our piglin aggro. We will then run up towards the 2 towers, breaking this block on the staircase to allow piglins to route better, and then abuse the piglin aggro AI to bring them up the towers with you. Once at the top of the stairs, break an additional staircase block to allow piglins to walk up normally, because they usually get stuck there. Then block off the top of the stairs, and here, break an additional gold block to aggro all piglins from the top of the 2 towers, as well as the ones you brought up with you that are currently in the staircase, and drop gold ingots to distract them while you mine towards the 2nd tower, making a small bridge and connecting the 2 towers together. This method essentially aggroes as many piglins as possible in this bastion type. Run up the stairs here and create your piglin trading hole, which is a small 2x1 hole in the center staircase bit, and toss your gold. The gold of treasure is actually right here in this room that you're in, hidden in the walls in a distinct pattern. From here, the gold blocks spawn as 3 in the center like this, 1 to the top left, 1 below the top left block, and 1 on the bottom right. Grab all of these and trade them with the pigs. Immediately go over to the 2nd treasure tower and rinse and repeat. Also, something to note, each of these gold blocks has a 10% chance, if I'm correct, to not spawn at all. Don't worry, just keep mining the preset locations and grab all of the ones that did spawn. Bring your gold blocks back and trade them all. Wait a second here for late pigs if they do arrive, and then go down and loot all of the chests. 2 below you, and the double chest in the 2nd room. Once you're done, check your trades and you should be good. This is the general method for routing treasure, which starts on the bridge, and you make your way quickly up the tower, trade the gold from the 2 towers with all of the pigs. Now I'll demonstrate this route. Alright everybody, so let's play Treasure Bastion finally. So basically, this Treasure Bastion route that I'll be showing you is known as the Boomer route. And it's named Boomer mostly because, you know, old people came up with it, so we're all old who speedrun this game, so it just is what it is. So the idea with the Treasure Bastion is that you always want to start the Bastion route here in the lava basin, no matter which direction you enter the Bastion from, maybe the behind, front, left, right, no matter where you are, you want to enter the Bastion from here. And we begin the route on the bridge due to the fact that we first break these 2 gold blocks on the bridge to aggro as many piglins as possible from the bridge, and then we essentially bring those piglins up to the towers, break another gold block in the tower, mix the 2 towers together so we aggro everything including the piglins from down here, and then we trade all of them in 1 singular hole. This motion should be pretty quick, so we begin by breaking this block over here to ensure that these melee piglins, the moment they see us, they won't be able to attack us. That's why you break this block right next to it to ensure it's safe. To make this other gold block safe to loot, you want to first place a block in front of it, jump over, and place 2 blocks to fill in here. This ensures that the other melees won't be able to attack you here as well. The moment we break this gold block, we're going to quickly route to that side of the staircase and break that little block that is like kind of in the staircase, like on top of the side of the staircase there. I'll quickly do it. Ride our way up, break another block on the staircase, mix the 2 towers, and go on. So we made our aggro, and let's go. Usually speedrunners like to build up here, do a little bit of parkour to break that block, and then we run up the towers, break this block on the staircase, and block off the top of the staircase like this. Refresh aggro by breaking again and tossing a couple golds over there to your side-ish as the piglins come down from there so that they see the gold as well and they don't attack you. We connected the 2 towers and then we throw all gold ingots right in there. Again, from the middle, there are 3 gold blocks that we can get. 1 on the top left. And as you break about half of these, most of the gold is already being traded. So you drop them as you go. 2 down. to get that additional bottom left block, and then we rinse and repeat in the other tower. So as you can see, we might get a little bit of late pigs here, but you just drop a bunch of your gold, and the strategy that some people like to deploy is that they actually grab this bottom right block of the first tower last, as it ensures aggro pulls all piglins from below in an efficient manner. After you trade all gold, quickly loot the chests. And get all of the fancy loot. As you can see, you don't always have to drop gold ingots from the top into the hole like this. You can actually throw the gold ingots here, so that they're basically on the corner of a block that is adjacent to the piglins here in treasure. As you can see, now we got all the fancy loots. The only thing we're really lacking is strain, but sooner or later we'll get it. But yeah, this is essentially the completed route. I will now perform this route quickly so you can see how it's supposed to be done at max speed. Not in a slow manner. That guy was about to hit me, so I traded him very quickly. Sometimes you need to react to piglins that are out of line and not in locations that you necessarily are prepared for. I messed up blocking the staircase there, but it wasn't too bad. As you play the game more, you will craft faster. I actually rebind the last two hotbar slots for myself to the side buttons on my mouse to help me out with utilizing them. A lot of different runners have a lot of different hotkeys for how they like to play the game, so it really helps to find the control scheme layout that works for you. I have all these blocks. The rest of the chests. Why is there a stone axe? Oh, wait. I guess that was my stone axe somehow. That's interesting. But yeah, we basically got most of the loot here. The only thing that we're lacking is obsidian, which is a little bit unlucky. This can sometimes happen in ranked, but later on in the tips and tricks final segment, I will talk about ways to have backups for Bastions. So that could happen. But yeah, basically under 2 minutes, usually you can look for this Bastion being completed. So for treasure, start your route at the bridge portion below the towers and mine both gold blocks safely. Make one of the gold blocks into ingots, then go up the staircase and mine the 2 specific blocks I mentioned earlier. Block off the top of the stairs, break a gold block, then mine into the wall and connect the 2 towers, while dropping gold ingots as you do it to avoid damage. Run up and create your trading hole. Route chests after trading all gold, and you're good to go. So, I honestly spoke about the treasure bastion first, not necessarily because it was the easiest bastion to play, but because treasure is the only bastion in the game that is truly linear, as treasure always spawns the same way every time. As such, the remaining 3 bastions we'll be talking about are the bastions that have different variations that they spawn as, which change the route you will be doing in some circumstances. The first of which we'll talk about is Bridge. Now, of all bastions, Bridge has the most obvious location for its gold, and this entire section is essentially a bridge surrounded by lava with 2 floors. It's also important to note that Hoglins can spawn here on this bridge portion, being an annoyance, and this is where your lava bucket can come in handy. At the back of the bastion, it opens up above, and on the right and left are 2 distinct areas known as ramparts. These ramparts for bridge have 2 different variants that they can be. One is known as a triple chest rampart, denoted by 1 single and 1 double chest, and the other possibility is a single chest rampart. containing one single chest in a little concave. The Bastion route you'll be deploying for Bridge primarily depends on which of these two back ramparts spawned as a triple chest rampart. This is due to the fact that the triple chest rampart simply has more Piglins available. Obviously, we want to start the route on the gold chalice here, so mine all of the blocks and craft all of them into ingots except for one. This remainder gold block will be used to aggro Piglins later in the higher parts of the Bastion. Also, quickly make yourself a gold helmet. From the chalice, you can actually look to see which rampart is a triple chest. The triple chest rampart looks like this, tall with slots in the back like these. The single chest rampart looks a lot more boring and small. Based on this information, we can see that we are going to be doing a left side triple route for Bridge. Routes for this Bastion have evolved over time, and the most commonly used routes in Ranked are routes known as Donkey Kong. So for left-sided Donkey Kong, the strategy is to get your gold, run to the back of the Bastion, and on this block, build a staircase up 3 steps. Block off the lava here, and create a bridge and staircase connecting up to the right rampart like this. Mine your way up and create a path for Piglins, and specifically mine into here to create an opening for the Piglins to chase you from the other side. Immediately break your gold block here, and then run back along your bridge to this area where you closed off the lava. Mine into the wall here, and you're in the left rampart, with all of the pigs chasing you from behind. Here you can create a Piglin trading hole wherever you like, but there's one block missing in the floor here typically, so it's convenient to just mine once, let the Piglins spill, break another gold block to aggro more, then trade. Piglins can also aggro from below you, so it helps to go over here and break some blocks to help them climb up to you and trade them in as well. Loot chests for obsidian, even making your way to the other side to loot those chests as well if you need, and there you go. This is how you route Bridge. Alright everybody, so as I am arriving over to this chalice already, and mining away on this gold chalice, I can already see in my third person view that the left rampart is a triple. As you can see, you do this while you're mining the gold, and mine away all the gold blocks, make one into a helmet as always, and the reason why you want to make a helmet is because as you get your trades, you will get something known as soul speed boots, either from trades or actually soul speed boots from Bastion chests themselves. Those have incredible utility later on in the run, and you'll learn a little bit about that in the next tutorial episode when we're going to the fortress and finding the fortress and all that. But just note that making a helmet is usually the gold piece of armor that you want to make if you have excess gold in a Bastion, largely due to the fact that you will be getting boots themselves with enchantments. So for left side Donkey Kong, we make our way over here to this block. We build 1, 2, 1, 2. So basically it's 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. Think about it like this, as a kind of 3 staircase like this. Keep note of that number 3. Block off the lavas and create your little bridge. Almost fell to my death there, amazing. Mine into here to connect the rampart. And all you're doing by mining into the blackstone here is connecting into here. So these piglins from this room and any over here that are spilling will be able to route and follow you the moment you break this gold block. So now we have all these piglins following us. Let's run past them. Sometimes you just have to tank a hit from the piglin. If it's a melee, you just have to kind of like force your way to run through it. Break an extra gold block to aggro everybody from the rampart itself as well. And then toss your gold as they spill. Any piglins from below are also very helpful to bring into your route, because Bastion routes are not only about trading a lot of gold, it's also very necessary to have as many piglins as possible, because obviously the more gold ingots you have and the more piglins you have means that you're trading much more than normal, and in Ranked this matters because you're trading a lot more than your opponent. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that there's a pretty safe way of looting your trades when you're here. Oh my god, also look at how many obsidian that was. See why you get obsidian from chests? That's actually a crazy obsidian chest. But besides that, if you want to loot your trade safely without walking in and just picking up your gold ingots back, what you can actually do is drop gravel, which you get from trades, onto the piglins and block them off the top. This pushes the trade items up by 1 block, meaning that if you loot it from here, which is like 1 block on the corner of it, you actually can loot it here and just stay safe. People like to sit on their trade sometimes where they don't have anything else to do in the Bastion, clear your inventory as you're getting the rest of your items, and as you can see, we are very much done. Alright, well, I know what you're wondering. This is an amazing gold chalice. Can't I just blow it up with TNT? And my answer to you is yes, absolutely. So if you wanted to blow up this chalice using a TNT that you may have gotten from a shipwreck or a buried treasure seed, you go ahead and place the block here on the chalice, light it up. You can also do a little bit of crafting while that's going. Whoa. Yeah, just watch for the knockback. Grab your gold. As you can see, we broke basically all of them. Go ahead like that. And so basically, we're going to be doing an iteration of Donkey Kong that is actually a right-sided Donkey Kong, or in other words, the Crack Smoker route. Now, honestly, I have absolutely no idea anymore who's coming up with these Minecraft speedrun Bastion route names at this point, but like, you know, that person was clearly smoking something. So basically, we can see we have a right side triple. I'm gonna go ahead and do a right side Donkey Kong, and with how recall how left side Donkey Kong starts on this block here, and you make like the 1, 2, 3 staircase. You actually start right side Donkey Kong here. You place one block here, and then up 1, 2. From here, you see this little indent of blackstone. You go 1, 2, 3. You mine this blackstone and block 3 lava pieces. So mine this, and then 1, 2, 3 lavas blocked. Make a bridge from the middle, 1, 2, 3, like this. This is essentially the bridge. Now, you at the base of this bridge here, connecting into this basalt, you want to mine straight up, and this is a hole that will drop piglins from above. Immediately break your gold block here, and then break this normal blackstone in front of you right away. This connects in, toss a couple gold to distract, and then make your bridge like this. Into the hole, get in the hole. Yep, toss, 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 and then bring your piglins up from below as well. And as you can see, we already have a pretty decent count of piglins. Honestly, if your Bastion route is pulling like more than 11, 12 piglins on average, it's a pretty good, decent Bastion route. You're going to be done your trades in a while, not in a while, but pretty soon actually, if you have that many piglins. And as you can see, look, this is why I said that you should get a helmet every time, because look, we already got a soul speed boost from the chest. We'll be getting iron soul speed boots from trades themselves. Clear your inventory, and look at that, wow, soul speed 3 iron boots. That's why you make a gold helmet on the chalice, because if you made like gold boots and eventually replace it with this, you actually are wasting gold technically. But at least I have this helmet and I can afford to wear the boots as well. Just a little bit of armor for the player. Remember, toss your gold on the side and then place a gravel and soul sand. I actually do this tech with the gravel and soul sand every single time, regardless of the Bastion type it is. Just makes looting your trades a lot more convenient. And look at that, we're already done. Alright everybody, so I will be showing you a pretty beginner-friendly route for bridge that involves a right-sided triple. And basically, you know, you just get all of your gold, you make your little helmet here, and basically for this route you don't have to worry about making the little Donkey Kong bridges, as all we need to do for this route is to just get to the top right hallway there. And you can very simply do this by going over here, take a look at this blackstone brick kind of pillar here, and then jump and block clutch on the side here or build into it. Mine away this block and make sure you don't touch any of these side lavas, and we're already up here in this hallway. Now on this solid blackstone brick piece here, not on the stairs, you go up and you mine 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is essentially a little connection into this middle section that will bring in a couple extra piglins. So you break a gold block here, toss a couple to distract, and then you do the triple. Set up your hole. Get the piglins in the hole, as always, and kind of gradually funnel in your gold. Bring the piglins from below after the first wave are pretty much done. Now, sometimes piglins don't want to route properly. As you can see, that guy was stuck on it, but I made him force route up by blocking him off with that blackstone brick. It ends up somehow making ranged piglins route better. But basically, you want to toss your gold on the side here, set up the little gravel tech that I showed earlier, which is something that I actually do basically every single time. And those, see, we get quite a bit of loot from this chest. Oh, I already have Iron Soul Speed. But yeah, this is basically a big part where inventory management comes into play, because there's a lot of stuff that you don't need from trades. That's why it makes sense to constantly be fixing up your inventory as you're picking up stuff from the Piglins. As you can see, we are done. Very quick. So, for Bridge Bastion, you can see that the entire route depends on which of the two ramparts are a triple chest. First, mine gold on the chalice, keep one as a block, make a gold helmet, and identify which of the two ramparts are a triple. Based on that, perform either a left side or right side Donkey Kong route, pulling all of the Piglins and doing as many trays as you can while looting your chest. The Housing Bastion is arguably the fastest bastion for speedrunning in the game, topped only by one specific case. Housing spawns as a large tower with two ramparts on top of it, and this sort of offsetted, scrambly looking lower half which represents the Piglins' housing units. At the top, this right tower always spawns as a triple chest rampart, regardless of any situation. The thing that changes in this bastion is the left rampart, which can either be a triple chest, single chest, or a nothing chest. At the bottom, housing always has a center chest in the middle of the housing quarters, and as you walk towards the tower, there is a double chest in this bottom right room, and behind it is a seemingly inconspicuous area. But don't be fooled, as the gold you will be trading is actually scattered underneath the floor in this room. So for housing, Piglins will at some point have to be aggroed towards this area. As you can see, housing has many chests available for the player, but the route for this bastion depends on where you enter it from. If you enter housing from around the bottom part, there is a viable route to break this center chest and perform something known as Manhunt, which is an incredibly dangerous and difficult route, as the moment you break this chest, all Piglins will start chasing you immensely. To make your way to the gold room from here, you must place lava next to this little block indent and build up to make space from you and the pigs. Here, you can access the gold room by building up to the chest and mining through this top corner. To access the gold below and simultaneously make your trading hole, get into this corner and block yourself off from above. Mine down 3 blocks, and to the right of this first gold block you break, place a block in this air pocket, and mine above. Boom. Instant trading hole. Now all that's left is to mine away and trade away. See the pattern of gold blocks underground here. Hop out of the hole when you're done and loot the chests. This is Manhunt housing. There is also an alternative method for doing this bastion for when you enter housing from above, which involves safely looting one of the upper chests in the triple chest rampart, either by blocking yourself in here or falling through this hole on top and building up to loot safely. After looting the double chest, break the single chest here and run down the staircase immediately, performing something known as top-down housing. Make your way here and block yourself off, and see here. Most bastions have backup gold blocks, which are additional gold blocks that aren't in a conventional location, but they help you trade and get more pigs. Make a small bridge here, and mine up, grabbing that backup gold and letting more pigs spill in. Toss gold to distract, and create your trading hole as normal. I will now show you examples of me performing both of these routes. Alright everybody, so let's assume you wanted to practice Manhunt housing on this Bastion practice map. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to the settings, obviously select housing, and if you go over here and select your spawn point to be center chest, this will bring you to housing, center chest for Manhunt practicing. Also I like disabling terrain because You know, it just makes everything load quicker. Make sure your loadout is what you want. See, wait. So yeah, basically you can edit your loadout for whatever you want and save it. So basically, let's start. So, the idea for Manhunt, and as you can see on this practice map, nothing moves until we move. The idea for Manhunt is that we're simply going to break this chest right away, and depending on what I get from that chest, like I'm just going to put my gold stuff in here. Let's assume I had nothing, like I had no gold at all, nothing at all entering in this Bastion. Whatever you get from this chest must be used to hopefully distract Piglins, because the moment you break this chest, you need to immediately make your way into that little room with the double chest. You have to run there like ASAP, and getting a little piece of armor from this chest or something to toss at the Piglins can usually help. If you press E and you quickly see that you don't have anything, then what you need to do is hope that that chest in that room has something for you to toss at the Piglins. Usually that is the case. You can get really unlucky, and in those cases you just have to truly send it into the Manhunt. But here we're going to see that example. I'm going to break this chest quickly, check my inventory, make my way there, and see if we can get the Manhunt going. Let's go. Yeah, as you can see, I already very quickly took a hit there, but I already got pretty lucky there with gold and soul speed boot. So let's go over here and complete. Toss a little gold there, and then perform Manhunt. We can set up our trades. The rest of this is pretty standard. We just drop all of our gold into the hole as we were making earlier. But I will now show a quick variation of this that you might be doing in ranked, because this Manhunt housing right now is good enough for RSG, but in ranked, the idea is to actually route up and get those backup gold blocks above, which I mentioned earlier. We go up there and then we do the Manhunt. So I'll quickly show you a little example of that. So for the ranked variation of Manhunt, it's very similar, same idea. Quickly break this chest, make your way to that room, same principle. I'm gonna put my stuff here, assuming I have nothing, and let's go ahead and do that. As you can see, I already got a bit of thing, and this golden sword is actually very helpful that I just got in my hotbar. This is something that I can distract Piglins with. So we go, boom, boom. Now, drop the golden sword or whatever here, and then see here. Build up on this little indent in the staircase here and go up. Here you block off, and you're already in the position where you can get these backup gold blocks. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit of a unique strategy in Bastions called difficulty toggling. Now, we know that when you aggro Piglins, they want to chase you, but there is actually a hidden mechanic that if you set your difficulty to hard, you are going to take much more damage from the Piglins, but Piglins on hard difficulty, in a way, to put this properly, they fall from greater heights to try and chase you. Meaning that once we break this little block here, the Piglins from above here actually have enough height to fall all the way down here to follow you to trade if you're on hard difficulty. That's why toggling to hard difficulty in housing as well as another Bastion can help a lot. You do that also in stables. If you mine into the wall here from that first gold block, you'll see that there are 2 extra gold blocks here. And you can mine them like this and force those blocks to drop to you if you fill in the air from back to forward. As you see, we got both of those extra blocks like that. Legendary tech. Now with all of those Piglins and toggling on hard difficulty, now you can begin the trades with extra gold and extra Piglins. This is why you perform this route in ranked. Like I mentioned before, in ranked, having more Piglins than your opponent can be very advantageous. And the rest of this route is played as normal. So for housing top down, we are going to make our spawn point at the very, very top. This will basically put us right on top of the housing, and you know, if you're entering the housing, like maybe from like side terrain, there's something bringing you over here, it's usually nice to start either here or a little bit on the side. But basically, if you're on the top of housing like this, there's actually a little hole that you can find here. And you just drop into here and drop 2 blocks, place 2 blocks up, and you're in here. You can pretty much loot the double chest safely. Boom, boom, like that. Over here, loot the chest. very helpful to just take, in ranked you want to take crossbows and arrows. This is something that I'll talk about later, but wear whatever armor you can, go down one, and then break the chest, and begin top-down housing, but it's really kind of like a top-down manhunt. It's like a manhunt, but just vertical. Usually, you want to mine those 2 blocks there if there's an adjacent triple chest, which will bring extra piglins to drop to you. But as you can see, we're already here in the position of the backup gold blocks. If you're playing ranked, or if you're playing RSG, you just get this one piece, and then you go here at difficulty toggle anyways, and then you trade. But in this case, in ranked, you want to get these extra couple bits of gold as well, just to have that little bit of an edge over your opponent. Boom, boom, boom. Already got all those. Find this block fall to minimize your fall damage, and then you just simply set up your trading hole. As you can see, no matter where you start housing from, the main point of convergence is this gold room. Either you start in Manhunt with the center chest and brought the piglins into this room, or if you started the route on the top and you did top down, you also similarly bring the piglins into this room. Mine away all the blocks here. Change back to easy. You don't take damage, and honestly, if you forget to change back to easy mode, you might get screwed, because melee piglins especially do a ridiculous amount of damage on hard difficulty. That's why being on hard can be risky. So it's very, very helpful to remember to change that back. I totally have not made that mistake before. So for housing, which is honestly in my opinion the best Bastion in the game, the moment you identify that the Bastion is housing from a distance, you want to make a decision immediately about whether or not you're going to do a manhunt route from below or a top-down housing route from above. It's important to do the Bastion route depending on where you are, because if you're below the housing, going all the way up to do the route from above will just waste a bit of time, break your chest, and the moment you aggro piglins, you have to be fast. This is why the Bastion practice map is important, since you can practice manhunt housing many times until you get it right. Even try out different variations of these Bastions with gold armor, which allow you to get a great feel for them. Ah, Stables. How I love this Bastion. Stables is by far the most complex Bastion in the game, largely due to it having the most different spawn variations of all Bastions. Stables is also the Bastion with the most chests for the player, and has many different route possibilities. For Stables, you have a geometric lower section that's more rectangular than the one in housing, and you have 3 main ramparts on the side, each with 3 different variations of what they all can be. For each of these 3 ramparts, they can either be triple chests, single chests, or what I call diagonal chests, where the chests are actually in this back right corner depending on where you're looking at it from. For triple chest ramparts, there's actually a bit of gold hidden here under it, 4 gold blocks to be exact in this hidden room. And for single chests, down the staircase, there is an additional chest for the player. Diagonal chest ramparts just suck. It's just the one chest here, and that's it. So those are the 3 different rampart types, and now we must look underneath them. The 3 lower sections of the towers are very important to understand as well. For the lower middle section, you always have what is essentially a center staircase leading upwards, with a chest at the very bottom. For the left and right lower sections, there are 2 possible generations for them, what we call either a good gap or a bad gap. Bad gaps are bad because inside all you find is just a single chest, although good gaps are great because these are the rooms that contain the gold to trade in stables. To check if a side has a good gap or a bad gap, you can do this within the center staircase. For the right side, you can mine into the wall here. If it's open, then it's a bad gap. If not, then it's a good gap, and you can enter in this little top corner by building up 1 block. For the left rampart, if you go up the staircase and mine this right block at the top, if it opens up, it's a good gap. If not, then it's bad. So it's basically like the reverse. The left air is good, closed is bad. Right air is bad, and closed is good. You can also tell if it's a good gap from outside. If, on the lower section below the rampart line, you see the small line indentation. Bad gaps, on the other hand, have a larger hole opening from the outside. To trade gold in a good gap, you preferably want piglins to be chasing you beforehand, either from punching one, or what I do is break this lower chest after looting it, dropping whatever you can to distract. So enter in and immediately block off this top of the staircase like this. From here, place blocks to create a trading hole next to the wall here, and you'll see that when you break this block, it's already 2 blocks deep. And the wall, break these gold blocks, and then allow piglins to spill from your blockade. And also break a hole above, since there's a hidden room here with more piglins. Once the piglins spill, block off the staircase again and go down here to mine more additional hidden blocks in the ground, kinda like housing in a similar but different pattern. Trade all of the gold, and then go back to loot other chests and stables if necessary. These are the basics of stables, but there's a lot more variation to a route as simple as this. For stables in ranked, there will always be at least one good gap, but in RSG, no good gap usually means a reset. There is, however, something unique about how gold blocks spawn in the triple chest rampart here. If your stables spawns with 2 triple chest ramparts next to each other, you can perform something known as a double triple route, which is faster than a conventional good gap route. So, I'll quickly show you both possible routes and some additional information on how to properly play this Bastion in all cases. Alright everybody, so it's time to route stables gap. We're going to be spawning on stables, and I'm going to make my spawning location at like the bottom of the stairs. I don't even know what backside middle even means, but basically we're going to be spawning in the bottom stairs, and that puts us here. So basically we're here. You enter in stables from the back middle, kind of like that. You can make your way to this little staircase. You can find it from the middle as long as you're in the like in the center of this middle portion, and you're next to the middle rampart tower. You're going to be here at the center staircase. Now, I don't actually know which one of the two is a good gap or not, but we're going to be checking those. Remember, there are 2 different walls that you mine into to check for good or either bad gap on either side. And we're going to start because the closer one up the staircase is the right one. So we'll check the right one first. If it's bad, we're going to go over to the top and check if it's good. If it's bad, then you reset if it's RSG. But in ranked, you're always going to have a good gap. Remember, always a good gap in ranked. You're not always going to have a triple chest rampart in ranked, but you will have good gaps in ranked. So, let's begin. So I already have a piglin here that is going to be annoying. So if I wanted to like distract them and loot this chest safely, I would have to go 1-2 like that. So you get a little bit of gold here. We can distract them momentarily. I'll break this chest to aggro piglins from all around. Quickly go over here, and you could just check here if it's a good gap. Honestly, it's already air like that on that little thing. So 1, 2, 3 in the staircase like this to block piglins, or you could do 1, 2, 3 as long as you can block them off properly. That's all you really need. Distract this guy. So we place 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. That's the hole we're trading. And you also need to break this side little blackstone piece there, that little groove piece there. They are attacking me. So what you want to do is place a block here and go like this. This essentially forces piglins that are aggroing you to drop into the hole, and you also block yourself from being shot by crossbows as you're mining the rest of the gold. But anyways, we just drop gold in there. The piglins all spill. Place that block back again to make sure any additional piglins will be forced to fall in the hole. And mind you, I'm doing all of this without even wearing gold armor. Didn't manage to get a piece of gravel, but that's perfectly fine. Go ahead and get the rest of the gold. You can get the rest of the gold by mining into this middle block here. It'll expose all of the gold pieces here. And there is an additional one if you mine this kind of like right one. A little bit of a hidden final gold piece there. And boom, boom, boom. And you trade the rest of the gap like this. And let's say, oh, I wanted to get more chests, you know. So I already know that this gap is trading. Let's take a look over here. So basically, let me just make sure whether or not this is a bad gap. So I just quickly checked and saw that this was a bad gap, okay? Because of it being closed here. So to get to this bad gap, because bad gaps are bad because there's a single chest, but you know, in the case where you already have your good gap, then a bad gap is good because it's a chest. This is just a niche scenario, but I'll show you how to loot this bad gap chest on the left. Basically, you run through this right hallway from the center staircase. You can see my little corner that I mined into is there. You go through this right hallway of the center staircase, go all the way back, and there's just this one block missing here. You just mine it once, and you're already at the bad gap chest. This chest sucked, but sometimes when there are no other chests available in your Bastion, it does make sense for you to route this. I have actually won ranked games in the past because of that bad gap chest having obsidian for me. Unironically, like that's a true thing that can happen. Get the rest of your trades. Oh, and this guy wants to kill me. As you can see, I have to react. Oh, I almost reacted. But basically, as you can see, Piglins like killing the player at any chance that they get. They're very ruthless, and that was a melee Piglin there right as well. I was even on easy difficulty, and I almost died. So imagine you forgot to stay on hard difficulty and all that. But yes, that is essentially the gap route. Alright, so basically for a double triple route stables, we're going to go over here in the settings. We have obviously the Bastion selected to be stables. We're going to be spawning on the left rampart here. And if you go over here to Bastion settings, you can actually set the left gap, right gap to be like random or good or bad. If you want to practice finding gaps, you can tweak these settings. I'm going to make the left rampart and the middle rampart both triple chests. And let's go ahead and take a look at that. So basically, for a double triple route, no matter the orientation of the triples, you want to always start with the rightmost triple. In this case, the middle triple here, because it's on the right of this left triple. If it was a right triple and a middle triple, like over there, those other two ramparts over there, oh, and I also started them, they're aggro, then you would want to start with the rightmost triple in that case, because it's on the right of the middle. So in this case, you have left and middle, so we're going to start with middle. There are two different ways that you can get to the triple, and one of the ways is through this little hallway that is right underneath at kind of like the base right side of the rampart. So if I wanted to quickly run over here, and I would start going into this hallway, and then I will quickly block myself off here in this little groove here. The gold is actually right here. Forward. You know that we can go over to the top and mine it from above, but we want to start crafting or essentially setting up a trading hole next to this first triple on the right side. So what we're going to be doing is, as you can see, the gold is right here, 4 gold blocks. But before we do this, you see this little opening here, you actually want to mine this and mine straight forward. If there's piglins that are going to spill on you from above, you place one block above you. As you can see, as I mine forward here, we connect into the adjacent triple. The other second triple is actually right there. The gold is right there in this hallway. And it basically connects the two. Essentially, what we're doing is we're mining all of the gold here, setting up a trading hole here, and once the piglins spill into here, we quickly go over to the next rampart, which is the one on the left or right. Basically, the second triple rampart, get the gold and bring it back. So as you can see, we set up our trading hole here with a little hole above. Piglins will spill from above. So let's spawn. And then you mine away your gold. Place a little block here to be safe. And then trade the gold into there. As they are trading, I will quickly now run over to the other triple room and then quickly block yourself off so you can mine the rest 4 gold pieces here. Make your way back. Quickly toss the gold in the hole and then immediately go for chests. As you can see, 2 triple chest ramparts right next to each other is an amazing set of chests. All of the piglins hopefully should have spilled into your hole by now. And you can loot the chest for free. Myself a fire res. And it's surprising because we didn't even get that much obsidian from these chests too. That's why looting as many chests as possible in stables is very, very helpful. I mentioned before that that was one way to get into the triple, but there's actually another way to get into the triple. If you think of the triple chest rampart as this and you're looking at it from the front, at the right side, there's this little hallway that leads into it. But there's actually a way to get there from the left side, and it basically, you should enter it alternatively left or right based on the position of piglins obstructing you and how much damage you would take. So here you can see to the left of a triple chest rampart, there's always this little like side area, this like side groove, that if you go in, the very bottommost point here is actually right next to the triple chest gold area itself. So I'm gonna go over here, get the rest of my thing. And you can see what I mean a little bit from the other side. So if I went into spectator mode, again, just to illustrate a little bit of what I was talking about, at the right there is this hallway that leads into the gold patch area that you set up your trade. But then look at this leftmost groove. You see this like 1 block opening? Remember, at the very bottommost area, there's always going to be this little air pocket, which is mine 1, and you're already at the area where you would hypothetically be setting up your triple trading hole. So remember, you see 2 triples next to each other, you set up your trading hole in the rightmost one. So for stables, the entire route depends on whether or not you're doing a double triple route with 2 triple chest ramparts or a good gap route, pulling pigs into the gap, trading like I showed you. Stables also has many chests available for the player, so being able to loot them quickly and knowing the location of where to find them all is key for routing this bastion effectively. At the end of this video, for the tips and tricks final segment, I will also describe to you advanced stables routes for ranked. So tune in for that if you want the best ranked strategies for stables. So there we have it yet again, everything you need to know about Bastions for Minecraft speedrunning. At this point, I hope you understand the strategies for finding Bastions, how to perform your E-ray, navigate terrain, and the general methods for playing the 4 Bastion types. It goes without saying that by just watching this video, you're not going to immediately be good at routing Bastions. It actually took me quite a while to do these Bastions with ease when I first started speedrunning. I recommend heavily practicing Bastions using the Llama Bastion practice map I linked in the description. Here you can change your starting loadout, edit the configurations of the Bastions and how they spawn, as well as picking where you spawn in the Bastion, allowing you to practice exact scenarios that you're having trouble with. In the next video, we will be pushing further on towards the Nether Fortress and beyond. I had originally hoped to talk about the fortress in this video, but seeing as there's so much information and cutting edge developments for Bastions, I just had to talk about them first to make sure that you're able to play Bastions with all of the updated strategies. As always, at the end of these videos, I will have the classical tips and tricks final segment to cover additional Bastion tips to ensure that you stay alive and don't die this early in your speedrun. Alright everybody, so let's say that you spawned in a Bastion and you didn't have an iron pickaxe. Recall that in the first tutorial video, when I talked about rune portal seeds, I mentioned that you will often be entering nethers without an iron pickaxe available. And this can happen basically only on rune portal seeds. So the idea for playing any Bastion is that, you know, I was talking about the Bastions earlier and I described to you the location of all of their chests. Stables has a lot of chests, you know where the chests are in treasure, you know the chests for housing, you know the chests for bridge, right? The essential general method for playing any Bastion ironless is to not start the Bastion where you conventionally would by getting the gold and all that, because you can't even mine the gold without the iron pick. you want to start the Bastion and enter the Bastion to basically loot the closest chest possible. Like, okay, I'm over here, you know, I have a wooden pick, for example. So I'm going to have to utilize my Bastion knowledge to know where the chests are. In this case, this looks to me like a lantern chest. So I can go over here and quickly, hopefully, loot this. Get a little bit of iron nuggets. That's one piece there. So these chests can give you iron nuggets as well as iron itself directly. Track them a little bit here. Press Q on whatever I loot from the chests themselves, and oh, look at that. I already got enough iron there immediately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe preferably block myself off somewhere. Make me my iron pick. You know, I already had one, but let's say I finally got me my iron pick, and now, from where I am now, the moment I get my iron pick, I'm going to begin the route. It's like, okay, I can see that this is a double triple route, so I'm just gonna go straight for the route that I would have envisioned doing the moment I had my iron pick. If I had my iron pick, I would have done this, but the moment I crafted it, I'm going to do the route as normal. Just to show a quick example of me doing this in a different Bastion type, we're going to be doing a housing, and we're going to spawn, I'm pretty sure I still have it set to be spawning on the top, yeah. So let's say that I have a wooden pick in this Bastion. I have no iron pick, but I started from the top of the housing. So I'm going to do the little chest looty strat. Got a little bit of iron nuggets there. Got a helmet that I can wear, which is good. I don't have the ability to loot these chests very safely, so I'm going to do this. So we got a little bit more iron nuggets. Now, you can get a little bit unlucky, but if this is the case, I still don't have my iron pick technically. I only have these 8 iron nuggets. You have to run through the rest of the Bastion. In this case of housing, we know that there is a double chest at the bottom of this area here. Hopefully loot this, and boom, there's our iron. Likewise, you make your iron pick, and in this case, since I made my way all the way down to the bottom, it is viable to just do a manhunt housing in that case. The moment you get your iron pick, you go back, break that chest, do the route as normal. Essentially, for an iron pickaxe-less Bastion, you want to just get a chest as soon as possible. Try and loot as many chests as possible so you can get your iron ingots. At that point, you make your iron pickaxe safely, and then you immediately do the route that you would have done anyways. You know what I mean? Every Bastion has backup gold blocks, and I'm going to go through all of them one by one. It should go without saying that in housing, we already kind of briefly talked about it. When you go down this staircase, from doing top down, or if you build up here using the Manhunt variation for ranked, your backup gold blocks are obviously here. You get this one here, and then to the right of that, 1, 2 are the additional others that you mine, and then bring them out like that. Oh, whoa, whoa, I don't know why I'm burning there. The backup blocks in treasure are actually in the 2 towers that you were mining gold from. If you go over here at the base of these stairs and you mine into it, on the stair block, there's a gold block here, hidden in the right tower. And on the left tower, it is also there, but just like one lower. So the 2 backups are right next to the stairs in treasure, these little stair pieces in the chest rooms for treasure Bastion. For stables, backup gold can technically be treated as a triple chest rampart gold, but if you are in a good gap, which is denoted by this little indentation, say that we're in this good gap, you know, we mine away all of our gold from there in the wall and also down here in the floor. The backups for Stable's good gap are actually in that little hidden room above. Remember how we had to mine above to let those piglins spill from above down into your hole? Well, there's a couple gold blocks here, there's a gold block here, and if you build up into this little room here to the right in this little wall, there is a backup there as well. Backups are not really necessary for bridge because you already have so many gold blocks here, but if you wanted a backup for bridge, if you go to the top right hallway here, next to these little chiseled blackstone pieces, there's extra gold in the wall here if you need be, but you totally aren't going to be needing that. But very rarely do you need that, like once in a million, let's say. Throughout this video, I was also performing a specific technique to loot chests very quickly. So let's say that I'm over here in housing. I'm going to show you very quickly in a basic way of how to do quick loot or fast looting chests. So let's say I'm at the top of this housing. I want to do a top down. I'm over here, mine, and take a look at this right here. I want to loot all of the stuff in this chest just for the sake of example. So here's how you do it. If you have an empty hotbar slot or your offhand is empty, you can press the number of that hotbar slot or your offhand with the number corresponding to it. So 4 is 4, 5 is 5. So let's make this 5 slot open. The way to fast loot an item is to first hover over the item, hold shift, and then press the hotkey that you want to put it into, then left click, then the hotkey again, then left click again. So it's like hotkey, left click, left click. So in this case, I'm going to do 5 click, 5 click. Look at that. You immediately quick loot it. You can also do this with your offhand, which is what I typically like doing because my hotbar is usually filled. You do F click, while holding shift the whole time. Make sure you're holding shift the whole time. Hold shift, F click, in a very quick motion like that, and you will immediately loot it into your inventory. This is a very used, this is a very popularly, widely used technique to fast loot, even obsidian out of chests. You loot it basically instantaneously, and this is also helpful in the overworld. You know, you want to loot your buried treasure quickly, or loot your shipwreck chest quickly, or a blacksmith quickly. You basically want to loot every chest in the game using this fast loot method. If you're doing a bridge route and you want to use TNT to explode the gold here, the reality is that TNT, if you light it with a flint and steel, it actually counts as doing damage to mobs. So if you were, for example, to light this TNT and would hit zombie piglins around you, that would aggro zombie piglins. And if you hit piglins around you, that will aggro piglins with the point that they won't be distracted and they will cause a big problem for you trying to start your route. So the reality is that if you make a button out of your wood, and you blow up the TNT with a button, then nearby piglins and zombie piglins will not be aggroed to you as a result of that damage that they took from that explosion. Alright everybody, so let's say you just spawned into the nether and, you know, you're starving. You know, I just don't have any food. You know, you played a rune portal seed and you got completely screwed over by food. There is actually a pretty safe method of getting food in the nether, but it relies on having this crimson forest biome. Now, I will talk a little bit more about the specific biomes and most of their key differences in the next video involving the fortress and the rest of the nether, and kind of like a nether part 2 video. But in this crimson forest is where hoglins can spawn, and hoglins, you know, they drop cooked pork. There's a pretty easy method of killing hoglins. You essentially want to aggro them and build up a tower of 4 blocks. From this, drop basically one bit of lava and let it fall down 1 block, essentially. I kind of messed it up here, but you can let the lava flow and then basically go down and then kill the remainder hoglins. It's funny, they actually hit me there. Alternatively, if you want lava to not really spill too far, you place 1 block down and then the lava will just flow into that one little thing and then allow it to flow downwards and then grab the pork that way. As you can see, literally off 3 hoglins that quickly, I just got 10 cooked pork. I mean, hoglins actually can end up being a lifesaver. So basically, baby piglins can spawn in your bastion as well, and when they pick up your gold ingots, they actually want to run with it. They don't even give you any items. So in the cases where a baby piglin falls into your piglin trading hole, they actually steal your gold pieces and they don't trade you anything. And there's a quick solution for these things. And then you can get your gold back. Yippee! So basically, we're going to conclude this video with the most complex route for stables, which is known as triple to gap. And I am going to be annotating this to the sound of the ice cream truck outside of my house, so this is going to be amazing. So basically, for triple to gap stables, you start the route in one of the triple chests ramparts. And the entire premise of this route is to essentially pull piglins from the triple by mining the triple chest ramparts gold, and then you mine straight down in specific locations to bring those piglins down to trade them in a gap. So essentially you take the piglins from the triple chest rampart, combine it with the piglins down below in the good gap area, and then you take also the gold from the triple chest rampart and you combine that with the gold in the good gap as well. So you're trading with a surplus of piglins and a surplus of gold. And this is a very standard, commonly used route in ranked. It's a little bit more advanced, which is why I decided to conclude the video with it. But essentially, the steps are as follows. You first loot the triple chest, and we're doing this in the middle first. I'll show a couple different variations. But we're looting the triple first. You loot the chest first, and then you break the gold, and then you mine straight down to get to the center staircase of this middle rampart. From there, now that you're at the top of the center staircase, you just check for the different gaps. If it's good, you bring the piglins down in, and you can do that pretty simple from the center. In ranked, this always works, due to the fact that you always have at least one good gap in ranked. That's why it'll always work in ranked. But you won't always have triple chest ramparts. But if you do have a triple chest rampart, people usually at higher ranks go for triple the gap, almost always. So I will show you essentially how it's done. You first want to loot the triple chest rampart by mining one block down behind the chests and looting whatever armor you can. Then from here, in this position, you mine straight down. You quickly get to the gold. Block yourself off as you're in here, and you see how I mine that one block to bring the piglins from the side and allow them to fall down with hard difficulty. Toggle. Set yourself back to easy, and now from here, you distract with one, and then watch here. For all of these triple gaps, you mine this bit of the staircase here. Distract the bit, and see I'm already at the top. From here, check the gap. Oh, this is a good gap. So let's go, and I'm actually going to punch a piglin to quickly aggro them, so I don't have to waste time breaking another block. Block off like this, and then boom. Create your gap route as pretty standard, with now a combined sum of piglins and an incredible amount of gold. And as you can see on the right there, my tally of piglins has climbed to 16, which is so 17 piglins, which is more than you could ever ask for in a conventional gap route. There's actually an 18th piglin right there. And then you do the rest of your gap this way as normal, get the rest of the gold, trade everything, and you looted the triple, and you have all the piglins, and you have all the gold, and it's just basically an incredible route. Say I wanted to spawn on the right rampart, for example. What we will do is very similar. It's the same premise. I am going to loot the chest. And then go straight down. Same idea. We're still in this triple. We do want to bring the piglins from the side. Difficulty toggle as always. But there's something different that you need to do if you're not in the center staircase. Remember, I said that when you're in the center staircase, you have the liberty of checking both gaps to just bring the piglins there as normal. Use our aggro AI. But you mine down here in the same location. Now look here. If this little room here is closed off, like it's one block deep, then it is a good gap under. That little groove over there is a great way to check. And I ran to the end of this little hallway with the lantern next to it, and I mined one block down and blocked myself off. This is a necessary step. Now you go 1, 2, 3. Luckily there's a yellow blackstone here, but if you go down specifically 1, 2, 3 after mining one down, so technically 4 blocks down, mine one forward, there should be an opening here. You're at the top of the good gap staircase essentially. Here, I do like breaking an additional gold block if you can, or punch a crossbow piglin, which will buy you some time. Throw ingot there to distract, boom, and you're at the top of basically the interior of the good gap staircase. And look at this, you're already in the good gap. So for the left rampart, it's a very similar idea. You distract the piglins, loot the chests, distract them with one piece, and then same idea, we go down here, and based on this little groove being one block deep, block it off a little bit, and then same idea at the end of the hallway, mine one, then 1, 2, 3, so technically 4 down. Don't forget to put that block above you when you mine one down at the end of the hallway, or else it'll just instantly die to the little army of piglins. So we're at the top of the left good gap staircase, and remember how the left good gap actually should have air here. Remember how you checked that there was air from the center staircase? There you go. From there, quickly punch range piglin. I actually punched 2, but that's fine. They should all come down. And there you go. Take a look at this. All right, everybody. And that should do it. We talked so much about Bastions today, and honestly, this tutorial did take quite a bit of time for me to make, but I locked in. I hope I described all of the different Bastions to you in great detail. Showed you how to E-rate to find Bastions, navigate the Nether a little bit, along with a little bit of tips and tricks for the Nether as well. In the next video, we're going to go straight to the fortress. We're going to talk about finding the fortress, how to play the fortress, how to route the fortress, and we're also going to be talking about eye calculation to find the stronghold. That's going to be the main premise of the next tutorial video. And honestly, thank you so much for watching. I know that this video is even longer than the first one. It's truly unprecedented Bastion video that we have on our hands here. But I hope I tried my best to describe literally every single piece of the Bastion as much as I possibly could. I hope you learned something great from this video and you can boot up ranked and hopefully get yourself into the Bastion right away and just start practicing them in the Llama Bastion practice map that I linked in the description as well. That's going to be very helpful. But hey, thank you so much for sticking through it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you had a great time, and I'll see you next time for the Fortress episode Crazy. Much love, everybody, and thank you again, and take care. Woo!